Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host Mark. And it's another 5-minute review. And in today's review, we're going to talk about the Peacock original series, Twisted Metal, and it originally debuted on Peacock. It's like I said, it's an original, but it originally debuted at the end of July, and so. It stars Anthony Mackie, who you may know from as the Falcon in the MCU. But he's really become almost a household name, I would say. I mean, he's more recognizable in face than I think he is in name. But if you recognize his face, you'd likely know his name. Anyways, this is my opinion. But also stars Stephanie Beatriz, Will Arnett as the voice of Sweet Tooth, but Sweet Tooth is played in physicality by Joe Sinoa, and Thomas Hayden Church plays a blonde-headed cop in this series. It's funny, the first episode, I'm like, you can't really recognize him because he's got these big aviator sunglasses on and he's got blonde hair and it's short. And he's really unrecognizable until he opens his mouth. I'm like, that sounds like Thomas. I had to look it up. And sure enough, that was him. Taj Vaughn's, Mike Mitchell, and who else? Neve Campbell plays the COO, I think is what it is, of New San Francisco. Yeah. Anyways, Twisted Metal is based off of the original OG PlayStation game of the same name. And I grew up on Twisted Metal. And so I remember fondly playing this game and just having a boatload of fun. And the game is... This is loosely based off the game because the game is essentially a battle royale game before battle royale was battle royale, but it's an arena game where you control a car and you're trying to destroy the other car with whatever weapons you have on your car, and you're in this arena, and Sweet Tooth is the big bad, the big boss, and so. Very Mortal Kombat-esque fights where you just have to climb your way up to get into the bad guy. Here, a lot of liberties are made with the story. It's a post-apocalyptic story where humans are the downfall of humanity came about, and now Anthony Mackie, who plays the role of John Doe. And it's clever. There's a lot of clever references to the game, and just there's clever dialogue. But he's a courier of sorts. He regards himself as the milkman, and he is approached by Neve Campbell to make a delivery to New Chicago. And she tells him that he can become a member of her society, which is a protected society. It's a city where there's life is functioning and flourishing, and it's very vastly different than what he's been introduced to. And so, yeah, the first episode is just mainly introducing of characters, but each episode is about 30 minutes long, and so. The dialogue from Anthony Mackie is very witty and fast. I can see where you would become a little bit annoyed by the character, but Anthony Mackie is very likable, and so I think he pulls it off well. We at the end of the episode we are introduced to Sweet Tooth, which again I said is voiced by Will Arnett, and so we'll see how that goes. I've seen a couple of clips where. Anthony Mackie and Sweet Tooth are introduced, and there's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very distinct dialogue from Will Arnett. And if you know anything about Will Arnett, you know he does the voice of Lego Batman and Damn, it just slipped my mind. Anyways, he does a ton of voices for a ton of stuff. But Lego Batman being the main one that comes to my mind. Anyways, I'm gonna stick with it. I think it's cool. The production value is pretty good. It's interesting to say the least, and it's got some of my favorite actors right now. Thomas Hayden Church has always been a big fan of, so I'll watch anything he's in. And Anthony Mackie is likable, so we'll see where this goes. But if you want to hit the show notes, hit the subscribe button when it pops up, so you don't miss any future content here on the podcast. And be sure to hit the show notes to get all of our links to our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, here on YouTube. And, our podcast releases weekly, every Thursday, anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere, Google Podcast. So we're doing big things everywhere. And we'll catch you next time.
What do you wish for?
Toilet paper. 2-ply.
I think I can do better.
3-ply?